In today's video, I'm going to give you a 3-step visualization process to help you to be able to create the life that you want simply by using the thoughts in our mind. Now, before I get into the 3 steps, I'm going to share with you why it's so important and how visualization actually works, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions around manifestation and attracting things by just visualizing. So I want to give you one of the key components on why we actually visualize in the first place. Also, at the end of this video, for those of you who struggle with visualization, I'm going to give you a hack that I've learned over the years that I teach clients who really can't see things. I'll actually give you a step-by-step practice that you can do so you can start to see the things that you want to visualize. So first and foremost, why is visualization so important? Well, one of the keys is it familiarizes you with whatever it is that you're visualizing. So, for athletes or people that maybe you have a speech coming up or something that you need to perform, it makes it very powerful for you to do because your body starts to get familiar with the movements and things that you're doing. There's this famous story of a gentleman who went to prison, and every day he would practice visualizing hitting a golf ball. And when he got out of prison, he actually cut off some of his swings just by visualizing and never actually hitting a golf ball. So one of the importances, again, it familiarizes us with the different step-by-step processes. Now, when it comes to manifestation, law of attraction, what it also does is it makes us very hungry to go out and take the actions that we need to take in order to actually make our visualization come true. So what do I mean by this? Well, have you ever had a time where maybe you saw a commercial of food, maybe it was a pizza or a burger or something really tasty, and then you begin to salivate? Literally, your mouth is starting to water because you're thinking about and you're imagining what that burger or what that pizza is going to taste like, right? Well, what then ends up happening is this thought and this idea of eating the pizza or the burger, it gets so implanted in your subconscious that, that day or the day later, you go out, eat the thing that you've been thinking about. Now, why does this happen? Well, when the images play in our mind, that creates a feeling, an emotion in our body, in this case, hunger. Again, we're salivating, and so we want to satiate that hunger by going out and taking the action of going and eating the burger or whatever it may be. Me, for mine, is ice cream, I'll admit. So why am I sharing this with you, okay? Well, part of visualizing the life that we want is to essentially create that same effect, that hunger, that desire, that salivation for going out and taking the action, right? You could be 10 o'clock at night, you're not even hungry, and then you see a commercial of food and you're like, oh my God, and you will literally go get up right there in that moment and go eat the food, even when you had no plan of doing this. It's because you want to satiate that hunger feeling. So same thing with our visualizations and our manifestations. It's to charge up and make us feel that hunger and that desire to go out and take the actions that we need to take in order to bring that into our existence. So practicing our visualizations on a consistent basis are going to create that passion, that desire, and that hunger to go out and take those actions. So with that being said, what is the 3-step process? So first and foremost, and this one seems almost like I shouldn't even have to say it, I will say it though because it's important, is understanding what it is you're wanting, right? Getting a clear vision of what you want to create in the first place. So imagine this for a second. Imagine you have a 5,000 piece puzzle set, okay? And you've got to sit there and put all the tiny pieces together. Now imagine this puzzle set came in a box and had no picture of what you're actually putting together. Well, that would make it very challenging to be able to put that picture together because you don't even know what it is you're working on. So it's the same thing with our manifestations and visualizations is if we don't have a clear picture of what we actually want, it's going to make it very challenging to put those pieces together. So step 1, again, is getting a clear picture, a clear image in our mind of what it is we actually want. Now, second thing is, and this will help, this kind of piggybacks off step 1. Once you have an idea of what you want, and by the way, be loose with this, okay? I think some people get so stuck on it has to be perfect, I have to know exactly everything. Just know to be flexible and that things may change over time. Right now you may want a specific house or a car or a relationship, and after a month or 2 or 3 or whatever, you begin to lose the desire for it. So if that's the case, that's okay. Just have at least a general idea of what it is that you want, okay? Now, what will help you in this process is being able to get an actual image of the thing that you want, because it makes it easier for you to actually visualize. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you want to, say, buy a Ferrari as an example, yet you've never driven in a Ferrari, maybe you've only seen them drive by once or twice, and you have no clear image of what that is, it's going to be very challenging for you to visualize. Now, if I were to ask you, hey, visualize the current car that you drive, it would be very, very easy to do, because you've had that experience, that real life experience of driving that car over and over again. Well, if we're visualizing something we've never experienced before, we don't actually have it, we want to set ourselves up to where we can actually have something to go off of. So getting a clear image and then figuring out, like, get a picture, have a picture on your phone, and print out a picture, whatever it may be, so that way you have some idea of what you're actually going to visualize, okay? Step 2 is when you're visualizing the process of whatever it is that you want, okay? We want to make it as vivid and as clear and as colorful and as lifelike as we possibly can. So when you're imagining yourself in that relationship or the body that you want or the house you want to live in, okay? You want to dial it in almost like you would dial in a camera or a picture or on your phone, right? We want to, like back in the day, the old school TVs, there'd be dials where you could turn up the brightness, you could turn up the contrast, you can turn up the color, you can make it really clear, make it really vivid. And the more that we can play with these modalities, AKA these characteristics of the visualization that we're seeing, the more, again, that satiation, that feeling, that hunger. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you saw a commercial of the hamburger we were speaking of. However, the commercial was in black and white. And not only was it black and white, it was kind of fuzzy, and you could see what it is, but it's just a little bit fuzzy. Well, you're not gonna have that same hunger. You're not gonna be salivating and foaming at the mouth to be able to go and get the hamburger. So part of that, speaking of hamburgers, and hopefully I don't make anybody hungry for a hamburger after this. If I do, please forgive me. On the commercial, it's like, oh man, they have the perfect bun and the perfect patty, and everything looks so good, and the lighting and everything. It's just like, it's almost 3D and you could taste it. So that's what we want to do with our visualizations, right? Make them real, make them bright, make them lifelike. Another thing, which is a part of step 2, is adding not only just what you're seeing, add what you're going to hear, add what you're going to feel, the smells, if it's something you can touch, right? So again, if it's that new car, the new car smell, the sound of the engine revving, the sound of the music you're going to play, the feeling of freedom and accomplishment. Maybe you're sitting next to somebody and they're riding in the car with you, what that's going to feel like. See the smiles on their faces. And so we want to activate all of the submodalities, aka the characteristics, what we see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. And by doing that, it will really, really immerse us in the experience. And again, create that hunger, that desire to take the action to go out and create whatever it is that we want. Now, step 3 is pretty practical, pretty simple, is practicing this daily, okay? The first time you visualize something, especially something you've never had or experienced before, you may have some challenges making that come alive and giving it the color and the sounds and everything else. So if you just do it once and then you stop, and you don't think about it again, chances are your desire isn't going to be very high. And also you're not going to be able to magnetize and start to attract those things to you. Now, I say that with a caveat that just because you're visualizing doesn't mean it's going to come to you. We still want to take the action to go out and actually make it happen. Again, if you sit in your living room and you saw the picture of the burger on the TV, well, just sitting there and thinking about it and salivating over it and talking about it and feeling it isn't going to necessarily make you hungry, or isn't going to actually bring the burger into your living room. At some point, you have to decide, hey, I'm going to get up, I'm going to get in my car, and I'm going to go drive to the store and get the burger. So same thing with our manifestations. The purpose of the visualization is to create that hunger and desire, and the next step is taking action. Okay, so again, step 1, get clear on what you want. And if you don't know exactly, at least a general idea, step 2, is activating all the different characteristics. Again, the sharpness, the color, the brightness, the sounds, the feelings, the taste, the touch, the smells, all of our senses engulfed in the experience. And then number 3 is to practice this on an everyday basis, right? Practicing little by little by little. Now, for those of you who may struggle with visualization, let me give you my number 1 technique, okay? So let's say, before I show this to you, I'll give you an example, okay? So if you have problems visualizing, okay, here's what I recommend. I want you to find a white wall, okay, or something that just, white wall is the best, and I'll share with you why here in a second. And you're gonna take your hand and you're gonna put it against the white wall, okay? You don't have to touch it, but just a white background so you can see your hand's, standing out outside of the whiteness. And you're gonna look at your hand. You could just pick a finger, you could pick your whole hand, whatever, okay? And you're gonna look at that, let's say I look at my thumb, okay? I'm gonna look at my thumb, notice all the characteristics. I'm gonna stare at it for a few seconds, and then I'm gonna close my eyes and do my best to bring out all the characteristics in my thumb. And then I do it again until I can get a decent image. And then I'm gonna move over to my other finger, and then the next one, and then before you know it, my entire hand. And then before you know it, my entire arm. Again, you can pick an object. You can hold the object here, look at it long enough, allow yourself to kind of go into that trance-like state, and then close your eyes and visualize it there. See the characteristics. So open your eyes, look at it again. Bring the characteristics back in, see it again. And just keep practicing this process over and over again. And I promise you, you will develop the ability to visualize. Now, I have had clients in the past who, I forget the name of it, starts with an N. Somebody can let me know down in the comments below. Also, if you could comment down below one of your favorite steps, or if you can comment all 3 steps, that way you could just refer back to this and go, okay, step 1 was this, step 2 was this, step 3 was this. And also, if you have any questions, comment them down below. Be happy to answer them to help you in your visualization process. So again, holding those objects, practicing it, and immersing yourself in that experience is really gonna help with your visualization and manifestation. So listen guys, if you're somebody who is a business owner, you're a high achiever, you're like, wow, Dom, this is really powerful. I would really love some assistance on speeding up the process, right? On getting from where I'm at to where I wanna be in less time, to get there as quickly as possible. The fastest way to get there is by programming your subconscious mind. First and foremost, removing the mental blocks that may be in the way that are keeping you from getting to where you want to go. And also to charging up those manifestations of the visualization so you can start to attract and create the life that you want. One thing that's important, I always tell people, listen, if you have a Ferrari and or Lamborghini and it can go 250 miles an hour, but on the track, there's all these roadblocks and there's just all these obstacles in the way. It doesn't really matter how fast your car can go, right? Until you remove the roadblocks, you just have a really fast car that isn't gonna get there very quickly. Now, if you go around all the obstacles, eventually you'll get there. But for me, rather than trying to make the car faster, what I would do is just clear the road, right? Clear out the roadblocks. And that's what we do when tapping into the subconscious mind under hypnosis is before we actually make your car faster and add to what you're doing, let's clear the roadblock from all the subconscious things that are creating that resistance in your life. So if you're somebody who wants to clear those roadblocks, you want to supercharge your subconscious mind for success, and you're a business owner, elite performer, there's going to be a link down in the description for you to book a free assessment with one of my certified hypnotherapists to see if either you and I are a good fit to work together or you and somebody on my team are a good fit to work together. So if that's you, click the link down in the description and book your free assessment. Again, guys, like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you guys in the next one.